Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue with part 2 of the Legion of the Damned. So let's get into 40 facts about the Legion of the Damned. Another belief whispered among the hidden order of the Adeptus Astartes is that the Legion of the Damned was once a chapter of Space Marines, a force that has been claimed by the fires of the warp and reborn into a more sinister form. Throughout the Imperium's long history, several contingents of Space Marines have made the voyage into the Immaterium and emerged changed as a result, or not emerged at all. Prominent amongst these are the Firehawks, a chapter whose history was blighted by disaster. In the year 963 of the 41st millennium, the Firehawks were sent to the Crow's World subsector to engage a flotilla of Eldar raiders and bring the anarchy that was spreading there to an abrupt end. The scale of the Xenos' incursion was such that the entire fleet, including the chapter's mobile fortress monastery, the Rapturous Rex, made a successful war jump from the Pieris system 120 light-years from their target coordinates. 5 starships, over 800 battle brethren, and 2,000 other personnel expected to reach their target within no more than half a solar day, though they never translated back into real space. 20 standard years after the event, the chapter was officially declared lost. The great bell of lost souls tolled 1,000 times, and a black candle was lit in the Adeptus Chapel of the Fallen Heroes within the Imperial Palace upon Terra itself. In the 986th year of the 41st millennium, a routinely Imperial Navy patrol passed through the Orc-held system of Jakor Tal. The squadron discovered altogether unexpected scenes of devastation. The limited facilities available to the patrol could uncover no clues to the identity of the attacking forces. The incident was noted and passed into the record of the Adeptus Administratum. A rash of similar instances within the same and adjoining sectors arose the interest of the Inquisition, but no sign of the intruders was ever discovered. A patrol ship in the Moran subsector narrowly avoided a collision with a spacecraft at the Kift system jump point. The patrol ship was entering the Kift system as the unidentified craft was leaving. Alerted by the close encounter, the patrol crew scanned the entire jump area and discovered 2 cylindrical objects within the intruder's projected flight path. These were hauled aboard and proved to be standard coffins used for Imperial starship burials in space. Though they lacked any identification markings, the coffins were shipped back to Terra and opened by the Adeptus Mechanicus. The coffins themselves were identified as belonging to the Absolute, one of the spacecrafts from the vanished Firehawks chapter fleet. Inside were the armored remains of 2 Space Marines. The armored suits seemed to belong to members of the lost chapter and were carefully broken open. The bodies within were human, but further identification proved impossible due to their advanced state of decay. The unconventional armor colors and unofficial insignia puzzled the investigators, but serial numbers on the armor tallied with the equipment made by or issued to the Firehawks by the Mechanicus. Almost a standard year later, a besieged Imperial research station received unexpected help. The garrison had been attacked by Orc freebooters. After 3 hours of fighting, the situation looked hopeless by the station's defenders. Without warning, the Orcs found themselves attacked from the rear. Within half an hour, several hundred Orcs had fallen to the mysterious, power-armored figures. As suddenly as they had appeared, the unknown warriors vanished. This time they left behind a banner, the chapter banner of the Firehawks, and inscribed upon it was the High Gothic motto, In Decapito Imperitoma Ultra Articulo Mortis, for the Emperor beyond the point of death. Along with the banner, there was a digital flight recorder and other sealed items. These were shipped back to Terra. A few reports of those who have seen the Legion of the Damned unhelmed speak of ghostly voices, sunken skin, and hollow-eyed sockets. Every supernatural occurrence, even glitches in reality that attributes to these mysterious warriors, adds credence to this theory. The original Firehawks numbered 200 surviving battle brothers. All of the chapter's gene seed had been lost. all of its initiates killed, and most of the chapter's officers were gone. None of the chapter's serfs had survived at all. To make matters worse, the Brethren had been mutated by their intense, unshielded exposure to the warp. This change became more obvious over the next few solar months. The surviving Firehawks' skin began to blacken and blister, and their flesh began to fester and putrefy. Slowly they began to die. Within solar days of the transition into normal space, it became obvious that the chapter had been exposed to some form of dangerous warp mutation or disease. It took many years to navigate a way back within the borders of the Imperium, during which time almost half the surviving Brethren succumbed to the disease. Those who remained were no longer sane. Pain and despair had driven even their hardened minds beyond the point of rationality. Doomed to agonizing death, they gradually became obsessed with their fate. Now they only wanted to die, but they were still Space Marines, still loyal to the Emperor and mankind. They were determined that they would die only for a purpose. So began the unending war of the Legion of the Damned. The surviving Firehawks elected to remove all official insignia from their armor. Instead, their armor was painted black, decorated by each battle brother with whatever emblem of death he chose. Most of the legions employed a similar theme: skeletons, bones, and skulls. All ranks and company structure were abolished, since most of the chapter's officers were already dead and the remaining warriors were too few to make up a fully functioning chapter hierarchy. All of the Legion's battle brothers were to be equal before death, leveled in station by the certainty of their collective assurance of extinction. Using the Emperor's guidance to go where they were needed most, the warriors decided to use up their lives attacking the Imperium's enemies wherever they could be found, the disease that had robbed them of their sanity and their health, but never their loyalty. An exhaustive report, commissioned by the High Lords of Terra themselves, painted a compelling picture of what might have become of the Legion for those who still seek the truth. Its conclusion states that the legions are still active, but that they are deliberately quarantining themselves from the rest of the Imperial servants. Quadrimestus believes that the Legion is a lost strike force of Space Marine who have somehow blended with the stuff of the warp, contracting a kind of metaphysical contagion. They fear their disease could spread to innocent souls should they remain in proximity for too long, and will do anything to prevent this. Knowing that their affliction will claim their body and soul, the Legionnaires seek to punish the enemies of mankind as best that they can. Though the warp contagion is said to bestow all manners of strange supernatural abilities upon those that bear its curse, it is ultimately fatal. Worse still, being spiritual in nature, the contagion's effect do not end with death. A being that dies with such taint in his soul is damned indeed. For though they are claimed by the fickle tides of the warp, they can be reborn after a certain period of time, much as a banished demon can return to the service of its masters after its purgatory is complete. The unusual but startling incidences of legionnaires entering a flame berserker state are perhaps best explained by the warp contagion theory. Quadrimesta calls this state Pyromortis. He believes a legionnaire enters a pyromortis state as the curse enters its final stages, burning his essence in one grand inferno before the damned individual is snuffed out altogether. This is called the martyrdom theory, for only those with true steel in their souls would risk such a horrendous fate in order to save the lives of faithful men and women of the Imperium. The warp contagion concept would also explain the phenomenon whereby the Legion's intervention often proves critical to the fate of the wider Imperium. In his later works, Quadrimesta concludes that the warp contagion bestows a great deal of psychic ability on the sufferer, blending their bodies and minds alike with the raw stuff of chaos. The Legion is able to read the Emperor's guidance with an uncanny degree of accuracy, tapping into the immense psychic presence of the Master of Mankind and using his abilities to read the future in the swirling tides of the warp. By striking hard at the most pivotal point of fate, the Legion can inflict the maximum damage on those Xenos races and heretic factions that would harm the Imperium. In this way, the Legionnaires are locked into a cycle of perpetual martyrdom, fighting an endless war against the enemies of mankind, all the while being unable to clear their own name from suspicion. Anonymous and unyielding, the Legion continues to fight, with none truly sure whether they are angels or devils, perhaps not even the Legionnaires themselves. Despite the speculation that has accumulated around the Legion of the Damned, the only point of certainty remains their uncanny skill on the field of battle. And those were 40 facts about the Legion of the Damned. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, we're going to do a part 3 where we talk about notable Legion of the Damned campaigns. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to get that. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. By you liking videos, you're strengthening the Warhammer 40K community on YouTube. You're basically telling YouTube, hey, I want to see Warhammer 40K content. So everybody that creates Warhammer 40K content and participates in them, like, that's what I want to see. You're strengthening them. So thank you for doing that. You are awesome, and you're helping out the community, even those that don't like, comment, and share. But thank you so much for watching. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. Welcome to the Battle Pit, where we put up 2 different heroes from 2 different universes up against each other, and we ask who would win in a fight. And for today, who do you think would win in a fight? A standard Legion of the Damned Space Marine versus 10 Bioshock Big Daddies, because I know Bioshock Big Daddies are no match for 1 Space Marine, but how about 10 of them going up against 1 Space Marine? Comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and at the end of the week we're going to share the results. Thank you so much for being viewers, and I'll catch you in the next one.